Hi all, this is Dr. Sage Breslin and this is Wisdom Wednesdays. I think during our last video, I talked about a series of very unfortunate events that happened to me, and I will say I am largely recovered, save a kind of yellowish bruise on my thigh. But the whole 48 hours that plagued me, honestly, it rustled up a lot of big feelings. And I thought I would share that because I think they may be useful for so many of you. What came up for me, I'll remind you, my son had this unfortunate experience of leaving his computer and his books on the back of his car, then backing out of a parking space, and they slid off onto the ground. And while I think they might have probably withstood that, the car next to him then came out and drove directly over them, breaking them into several pieces. And I had just finished paying off a bunch of bills, and so another huge expenditure really was overwhelming, as it would be for anyone, I'm sure. And on the tails of that, I locked myself out of the house in my pajamas in the rain. And while trying to climb up over a gate, fell, injured myself, thankfully not badly. But it really tanked my mood. Again, probably pretty normal situation. So I reached out to my community, largely through, I use NextDoor. And I had so many beautiful responses, so much kindness from my neighbors and my extended neighbors, and quite a few of them encouraged me to do a GoFundMe for my son because he didn't happen to have an extra $800 for, replacing the computer. So the long and short of this big story is so many people wanted to give, so many people wanted to be helpful. And I know what that feels like because that's naturally who I am. I'm a giver. I've actually had to learn to receive. And for me to take that step again, maybe for the second time in my life, and put something out to receive, put a request out so that we could receive, was just, it was so far outside my comfort zone. And at that, I still had so many responses. There was so much support. It was amazing. Even my son, who was so punishing of himself and so mortified by his actions, and especially the other drivers, that he was just touched so deeply in his heart to receive that kind of love and support and compassion from the community, that I think both of us were in shock when a few members of the community sort of got into this caustic, critical, discompassionate stance, very blaming, very shaming. And I noticed that my feelings were, I just wanted to go away. I wanted to shut the thing down, delete the post, delete the GoFundMe, refund all the money, and run away. That was my initial response. And I have some lovely friends who immediately said, you cannot let, these people get the best of you. A hater's gonna hate. And that's not about you. That is, you're not gonna put a stop to the people who want to give, who want to share, who want to help. Why would you get in their way? And that was an amazing experience, both to hear it and take it in and rectify my own position, but left me thinking about why I had the response that I had. And many of you know my story. I have a pretty extensive trauma history, and the notion of leaving myself open, vulnerable as a receiver has been terrifying to me, has been wounding for me in the past. And so I think the natural position actually is closed, and it's taken a lot of work and a lot of effort to remain open. And when I had my bone marrow transplant last year, I couldn't do for myself. I literally couldn't walk on my own, couldn't serve myself, couldn't get up to bathe, couldn't bathe myself, couldn't do any of that. And so I had to learn, thank God, with my very best friend, Jen, how to receive. And that was really a challenge for me because, as I said, I'm a giver. I am that person that when people say, oh my God, you know, somebody broke into our house and, you know, stole this, and oh my God, you know, my handyman has, you know, parked his truck out front and somebody stole all his tools. I am the first person to jump in and say, what can I do? You know, not only do I have jobs that can earn, you know, him money, but I'm happy to put money into GoFundMe if I have it. I really believe that, you know, what I always told my kids growing up, like, if you share, there's more. You know, if you keep it all for yourself, like, that's a finite amount. But I do believe that God believes in sharing. Like, that's just my thing. So back to the story. Along came some of these naysayers, and I kept myself open with some support, and I really thought that we were to the end of it. I had a hard time figuring out how to stop the GoFundMe once it reached its goal. So I finally asked my son, you know, on the Monday, like not even a week later, I guess 5 days later. And I said, you know, how do you shut this down? You've reached your goal. You know, we can just be thankful. And he finally found it and found to delete it. And at the time that I was doing that, one of these people came back and again was just so caustic, so hurtful, so critical, and shaming. And I started to feel like the dent, you know, a wounding, as if somebody was calling my character into question. And I think my whole life is based on my character and on my integrity. I really felt wounded. And that hasn't happened in a long time, especially by somebody I don't even know and who doesn't know me. So I posted a different post to the community, thanked them so much from the bottom of my heart, let them know that there were some really caustic comments and that I was noticing that I was starting to feel stressed, so I was going to delete the string. And I deleted it. Again, so many private messages saying, you know, hate is gonna hate, you know, let them go. You are a giver. This is our way of helping you receive. We love you. We support you. Just, you know, keep on kicking ass. So that's the story on that. But what it stirred up more was just, I guess, the recognition of something deep within me. I've always known that I was different, always. And I think it took me a long time to realize that I am special, not in a bad way. I was special because, you know, I was young, I was a victim, I was in France, somebody tried to kidnap me. I mean, right? That's not why you want to feel special. You want to feel special for your superpowers, for who you are in your core, in your essence. And I just wanted to celebrate that. I think what happened when this person was so adamantly shaming is that part of me just started to rock, like, what the heck? No, you know, this core essence isn't even capable of that. And it just shook me until it was like a lightning rod through my spine. And I felt the strength and empowerment to say, no, I am special. I have integrity. I have unerring integrity. I am love. I am not capable of what you're saying. And so that's my wisdom for today, is that, you know, finding that stuff deep within us, that special nature deep within us, deep within our core, that is magic. because when we can tap into it, it is the greatest superpower ever. It allows us to be completely grounded and forthright and capable and confident. So I would love to hear in your comments today, how are you special? Tell us. This is Dr. Sage Breslin, and this is Wisdom Wednesdays.